Hey guys, my name is Leopold. I'm a transgender man from the west coast of Canada. I'm starting off 2016 with some super amazing news. I've just got my date for top surgery, which is just absolutely amazing. I've been working towards this for quite a while. I've been on the wait list for 3.5 years now. I did my assessment about 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago. Um, it's kind of a weird system here in Canada. They've changed it now, but back when I did my assessment, I had to do it in Vancouver, and I live on Vancouver Island, which means that I had to take a ferry to and from Vancouver to do my assessment, which was about a day each time. I had to go 1 to 2 times a month, back and forth, to get this assessment done. I had to talk to a doctor for about 6 to 8 months. It took about 8 months for me because I was doing my testosterone and my top surgery assessment kind of at the same time. They understood that it was hard to get back and forth, so they were really good about it, which was amazing. So I did my assessment, and back 4 years ago when I did my top surgery assessment, you had to prove that you had lived as male for a year and a bit, basically. Um, which, just to go off on a little sideline here, is really quite difficult, and I'm really glad that they've changed it, because for a lot of guys like me, it's really hard to come out at your workplace or to people around you who you aren't super comfortable with, to prove that you've lived as a man for a year and a bit is really, really just how do you prove that without coming out to your employer or something, or having proof from a professional source. Um, so it was really difficult. I had come out to my employer in preparation for that, and I was living as a male before I started hormones, which was quite difficult. There were a lot of jokes, a lot of discrimination, because I definitely didn't look super masculine. And like, I wasn't super uncomfortable with that, but it was really hard to live as a male, and not look the part. I'm much more happy now as I am, and I feel super hot, and it's great. And this surgery is just going to be so great for me. But yeah, so I'm really glad that they've changed that rule, because it was impossible for a lot of guys, especially if they didn't live in areas like I do. A lot of like Alberta and Saskatchewan and stuff, it's not the most welcoming place for trans people. So to have that proof was pretty much, it was very unsafe for a lot of people to come out before they'd started hormones and started being able to like fit in to the binary, which unfortunately is a fact of life for most trans people. Um, it's ridiculous, and I'm hoping that it'll change at some point because gender is fluid and stuff. But I won't get into like a big rant about that. Um, but yeah, so I did my assessment and I got all that done. And now I have a date. I had to talk to two different surgeons. One of them was in Vancouver, and I went to two consultations with him, but I didn't really like him. He didn't make me feel very safe or very validated, or um, just he wasn't very nice, and he wasn't very friendly or accepting or understanding. It seemed like this was just like a way to get money for him, kind of. I don't know. He wasn't very nice, and I did not feel comfortable with him whatsoever. So when they gave me the opportunity to switch from his waiting list to the waiting list of the one of the surgeons here in Victoria, which they just recently okayed to do these surgeries, thank God. It was really great, and I was super excited. I'd been on the wait list for the doctor in Vancouver. I'd been waiting for my surgery date for just over a year after I'd talked to him. I went and talked to the doctor here and did my consultation here, with the surgeon, and it took less than 3 months for them to give me my surgery date, which is amazing. after being on a wait list for so long, and then you come here and suddenly it's like, bam, okay. It was so cool, and I'm hoping that that wait list will stay fairly short for guys in the future. I'm hoping that they can find a way to spread it out, that no one has to wait years and years to get their surgery. Because for a lot of guys, it's really hard to wait that long. This is for a lot of men. This is a life changing, like life saving surgery. Many trans people are so uncomfortable with their bodies, and it can cause a lot of emotional grief. And if you work in a physical job or in many situations, it's very uncomfortable not to have your chest surgery, and that's like beside the fact that you take your binder off at the end of the day, and it's there, which is a reminder to a lot of guys that they don't want. Like, I don't really care too much that I have breasts. Like, personally, they don't do anything for me, and I'm not happy showing them off at all. But like, I don't hate myself because of them, which I am super fortunate to have that kind of self confidence. I know I'm a guy, whether I have them or not, and that is not a place that many trans guys are at, which is why this surgery is so important. And a lot of people have asked me, wow, why don't you just continue binding? And I know a lot of guys get that argument from their families and stuff like that a lot, is like, well, why don't you just keep wearing a binder? Which, in case you don't know, it's a compression vest. I have mine on here, so it's just like this big kind of spandexy mesh material that just kind of flattens everything down, makes you appear more streamlined, which is very important for us to go out and live as men, and be accepted as men. Society is kind of warped in that, if you don't look a certain part, then you obviously aren't. It's ridiculous. But, yeah, so these are something that help a lot of trans guys feel more comfortable in their body. Why can't I just keep binding rather than get this surgery that's expensive and yada yada? Binding is a great short-term solution. For a lot of guys, it is a long-term solution. Not every guy wants top surgery. It's not every guy's end goal, which is totally okay. I tried to say chill and okay at the same time, and that didn't work. It's totally chill. But it's not the safest method. And if there's any young trans guys watching this and you don't know this, binders are a lot more safe than wearing bandages. A lot of young people will bind with tensor bandages, which is incredibly unsafe. They are not made for that. Your ribs are not made to take that, and they can cause a lot of damage. So if you're a young trans guy watching this, or a young trans guy, just make sure, check and be like, hey, it's totally not safe. There's lots of resources online if you need a binder and you can't find one. If you live where I do, which is Vancouver Island, Victoria area, UVic, the university, can provide you with a binder if you need it. Probably not the safest to be giving out my locale and everything, but seriously, it's amazing that they'll do that. And a lot of resources online. I can guarantee you, if you need a binder, do not bind with ace bandages. Just don't do it. A lot of people in your community will be willing to reach out a hand and help you out if you need a binder. But yeah, anyways, sorry, a little bit of a tangent there. Not safe. Binding itself is not the safest long-term solution either. It is putting a lot of pressure on your body, on your ribs. You're not supposed to do it for more than 12 hours at a time. You're supposed to take days off in the week, which a lot of guys can't. I know, God knows I can't. I wear my binder for 16 hours a day, pretty much every day, and that's a minimum. And I don't get the luxury of taking days off. So I've been binding for almost 5 years now. I'm super lucky that my chest has remained fairly safe to do the surgery on. It's not... It can stretch out the skin, binding. It can damage your ribs. It can cause a lot of complications. So the longer you wait to get your top surgery or the longer you bind, it can be super unsafe. A lot of guys who do have just binding. They don't really want top surgery or anything. They have like looser binders that they wear during the day, which is great. That's what I'm wearing right now. Is like it's kind of stretched out. If you look in the back, you can kind of see it's separated a little bit. Which I'm lucky enough to have a small chest, so I can get away with wearing a loose binder all the time. But a lot of guys can't. So that's why this surgery is so important, and that's why it's covered by MSP, or like Canada covers it, is because it is so important, and it is a life-saving surgery. It is, like, there's no two ways about it. You can argue with me all you want about it, but it is a life-saving surgery. Anyways, so I'm super excited. This is just so amazing and a great way to start off 2016. I'm just so blessed to have this opportunity, and especially to have it in Victoria rather than Vancouver with this amazing surgeon who he made me feel very comfortable, and that was great. Yeah, so here comes the kind of difficult part. I am not in a great place financially right now. My husband had a very important surgery for his health just recently, which ended up being quite expensive. It was a very necessary surgery, and he's doing a lot better now, in case anyone's worried. He's doing so much better now. He was in a really bad place health-wise before that. It was causing a lot of problems to his insides, so now he got surgery and he's doing a lot better, but it did get quite expensive, and I had lost my job just a little while before that, which really sucked because I really liked that job, and it was a really weird situation. But whatever, things happen. So I got what I could find, which was a part-time retail job at a store that I do really like this store. It's not exactly a financially stable position, but it's what I could find at the time, and I've been doing some part-time in other places as well. But we had to put a lot of our living expenses on our credit cards for his surgery. EI didn't really come through. He was off work for about a month and a half, and employment assistance, it took a long time to come in, and what they did give us was not nearly enough to cover really anything. And there's a lot of expenses that we have that we're very behind on right now. So things are kind of in a weird place. So when I go off work for this surgery, I can't guarantee that we'll have been able to pay off our credit cards or anything and put living expenses on it again, because we're so behind on our phone bills and our rent, and well, we're caught up on our rent. But necessary things like that, we've had to downgrade our internet, which is very important to keep in contact with my family and his family and stuff, but we've had to downgrade on that, and just a lot of things that we have prescriptions we need and that kind of stuff. So paying off our credit cards is not really a possibility right now. So in order to get enough money to have this surgery and be financially stable through it, I've set my goal at $700, which will be just enough to cover my part of the rent, and prescriptions and the compression vest that I will be buying secondhand, obviously, that I need for the surgery, transport to and from the hospital, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's going to be really tight, and I'm not the best at asking for help financially. I've had to ask for help before, and it's really hard for me to do, but at this point it's a necessity. So yeah, I've set my goal at $700. I don't think I'll reach it, because obviously I understand very few people have expendable income at the moment. It's not exactly a great economy anywhere. Jobs suck, life is hard and expensive. But if anyone can donate just a little bit, that would be amazing. And I would feel so blessed if I could just even make a couple $100 just to kind of help out. If I do end up being able to raise over $700, that would be absolutely amazing. And we would be able to pay off a bit of our credit cards from when he had his surgery. I I wanted to do a fundraiser for his surgery, but we had some confusion. Someone in my family had said that they would give me a hand, and then they didn't, and then things just kind of got expensive. And by the time I thought that to do it, it just it was too late, and I didn't feel comfortable doing it. But right now we really need it, and if we could pay off some of the expenses from his surgery as well, that would be just phenomenal. Um, yeah. Anyways, so this is me putting it out there. If you can donate, that would be absolutely amazing. I would really appreciate it. I know there's a lot of fundraisers out there, and there's a lot of guys like me who are in a bad situation. So like, if you choose to donate to someone else, or if you don't have the money, that's totally okay. I totally understand. Obviously, but yeah, if you can, that would be just fantastic, and I would be so thankful. Um, yeah, so that's my story as it is. I hope you all have a great 2016. I hope you had a great holiday, whatever you celebrate, or if you didn't celebrate everything. I hope it wasn't. I hope you enjoyed the weather, or you got some snow. You got to do some snowmen, anything like that. Yeah, this is just so exciting for me, and I'm glad that I could share my story with you guys. And thank you for taking the time to watch this and listen to me rant. Um, yeah, bye guys.